Welcome to Sormax Writers Cafe, where we will share the real writer's life over a cup of friendship, sprinkled with laughter and wisdom. My name is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I'm your host for today. This episode's sponsor is Building Your Readership by LaShaunda Hoffman, a new Kindle book. Are you ready to become a social butterfly? Inside this new episode book, LaShaunda shares 10 ways to start building your readership, increasing your book sales as you learn how to be consistent with your book promotion. Each episode includes action steps to implement to help you become a social butterfly. Check the show notes for the link. Sitting at the capture with me tonight is Tremayne Moore. My mouth is not working today. And Manswell Peterson. Welcome, sirs. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to start with Mr. Tremayne. Please tell us a little bit about you, what you write, what you've been up to, and hopefully read us an excerpt.
Sure. My name is Tremayne Moore. I released my first book in 2009, and I've written 4 poetry books. The last one is the most recent one. It's a collaborative book with a childhood friend. And the genres that I write are, of course, poetry, but I also write about novels about social issues. And what I have in the pipeline is actually a second collaborative poetry book, as well as 2 other books. And actually, my wife is turning one of my novels into a short, and I'm actually going to write a screenplay for my second novel that has been released already. So, from the last book that I released in 2018, it was a book called Love Season. It was written with a childhood friend. Now, I don't know if you've seen my wall on Facebook, but this particular book was, I would say, almost all of the poems were written live on Facebook. Me and Stephanie, we're just writing poems, and we would write about 8 lines, and then we would see how fast we could come up with another 8 lines to respond. So that's how that collaborative poetry book came about. And this particular poem in the book was actually a solo poem that I wrote called Dedicated to My Flower. It was written to this particular woman in my life, and when I wrote it, it was July 6, 2018. 5 months later, I would marry that woman. We actually got married. So this is the poem. It's a real short poem, and you should be able to identify the 2 songs that inspired it. I believe Anita said that some dreams come true. The truth is, I found a real dream when I found you. I know your youthful world tumbled down on you, and no one but God heard them as he redeemed you from hell and death too. One of the things that grabbed my attention about you was your heart. That's where your spirit lies, and it told me you were special from the start. Not only are you a woman, you are a daughter of the Most High. To see how he's working in your life, I smile, and with joy let out a sigh. Many people don't know how to touch you, as you are a gentle flower. Some will say sleep is your true freedom, but you've found it in thanking him every hour. I count it an honor to have this flower in my life, and I promise to nurture this flower with pain and strife. This poem is dedicated to my flower because everything about her is precious to me. If only I could pick her up from the garden to be mine, that would be a sight to see.
That was nice. I like that. I'm really excited to see that poetry is coming back popular again. Sometimes it goes down and then it comes back up again, and a lot of people are releasing poetry books, and really excited about how poetry is being received now. So that's good. You ready, Manuel?
Yes, I'm ready. I don't have an excerpt from that one, but like I said, my name is Manswell Peterson. I write in about 8 different genres. Been around for a long time, since the MySpace days. Happy to have the title of ghostwriter for several celebrities here in Georgia and New York as well. So I'm in Texas. I just love writing, but this year, we're challenging ourselves. We're going to put out a book every month this year, and so we're going to give the readers something new every single month. I'm excited about my Billionaire Baby series. We have a Mafia series going back, giving some homage to the original street-lit authors, and then I have a paranormal series, so we are excited about that. Plus my upcoming film from my book, Church Pain, Church Hurt, which, it generated a ton of, interest because it's just a topic that a lot of people want to talk about, and sometimes they're scared to, but, the story actually makes it easy to talk about the topic. So I am just excited about what, we're seeing in the author world. I love helping, different people because a lot of people swear it's very difficult. It's not difficult if you got the right people with you. And so that's what I love about doing what I do. So it's going to be a fun, exciting year for us, and I'm just glad to be here.
Well, I'm very happy to have you here. But before we get started, I'm curious why you chose to release a book every month. Why did you decide to do that?
Sometimes you have to challenge yourself to keep that fire going. And so this was my way of really just challenging my brain, challenging the fire that burns inside of me. Because when you've been around as long as I have, and I'm pretty sure you know this as well, we've seen a lot of people come and go, from the author world. I see people who used to write books, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm still writing. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're working in different fields now, and they're like, I just couldn't make it happen. And so, it's just my way of challenging myself to say, hey, let's keep this fire going. Let's see how long what we can do and how we can do it. So when I got with my team, and I told them what I wanted to do, they were in shock because they were like, that's a ton of work. I'm like, I know, but it makes it fun, but it gives back to the fans too because, a lot of them are like family now because some of them have been with me since MySpace. And, we've all crossed over from MySpace, through Black Planet now to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And so it's just fun. It's exciting. And, you always want to challenge yourself to see what you can do, more to bring back that oomph to the writer's world. Because sometimes people think it's gone, but it's really not there. And it gives the fans something every single month to look forward to. And so right now they're excited about, the 12 books in 12 months. They're excited about it.
I love that. I think that you told how old you was with the MySpace. I was like, yeah, man, you've been here a long time if you know MySpace.
Yes, I've been around a long time.
Today we were talking about, I was on Clubhouse and we were talking about, the promotion side of the books. And Danielle Scroggins is another author who did release a book a month. I think it was, I want to say it was, maybe it was 2019 she did it. And, but man, I was like, girl, she's like, I'm crazy. But she did it. But what she was saying was that this is long term. A lot of people don't realize that when you go into writing, it's a career. Just like you work a job, it's a career, and you work. And when you talk to people, they're like, "I've been on my job 30 years." People don't be on their jobs long anymore. They give them 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. So when you say I'm still here since 2000, people be like, "What? You still what?" Because
exactly.
they didn't make the New York best-selling list, so they think they done. And it's not like that. It's a long-term investment when you're writing. And like I was saying, how the poetry is coming back. It always turns back around. It's like a circle when it comes to writing, finding different things. Like you were saying, you're doing a billionaire series, and I was smiling because I have another client that's doing a billionaire series, and that's what is hot in the romance area. The Harlequin books, they got their billionaire series. For some reason, women just love reading about these billionaires. And so, if you can come up with your own little section in those themes, then you stay relevant. And that's the whole thing about writing, is staying relevant. And you stay relevant by reading and staying on top of things, and and having your teams to help you, brainstorm different things and stuff. So I appreciate you saying that you have a team, because sometimes people want to do this by themselves. And you need a team, just to pull you out of your rut sometimes when you're in a rut, And so
Right.
I love that you're planning your way through what you want to do for 2022, and taking up challenges. Sometimes you do have to challenge yourself. I challenged myself last year by doing the Kindavella. I was like, yeah, no. But it's been an adventure. I'm on my second book on Kindavella, so I'm like, okay, let's do this, And so you have to challenge yourself as a writer. I really do believe that. So, Tremayne, what you gonna do this year to challenge yourself?
Well, writing a screenplay is probably going to be the bigger challenge for me because I've never done that before. But I think it's time for me to expand, and to stay writing, like Manswell was talking about, and he just kind of gave me a challenge to push further in writing as well too, and not just keep these ideas staying in my mind. So I would say keep writing, finish out the books that I have on my computer, as well as getting these screenplays going.
Oh, that's good. This screenplay is totally different. I took a class on that, and you think you know some stuff until you take that class. Like,
now,
I don't know.
Now you know what? Here's the weird thing about how I learned, and I'm gonna give something away here.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually on a movie set.
Mm-hmm.
With a friend, and it's funny because if you follow my works, you'll see he actually co-authored my book, Snatched a Stolen Child, with me, and they needed something redone, and this was on a movie, and the writer was sick, and the director was like, okay, we need this rewritten now, and they couldn't find anybody, and so sometimes you have to be bold and step out an opportunity, and I told him, I'll do it for you, and the guy was like, excuse me? I said, I'll do it for you. And he was like, but, you're not in my budget. Who are you? And so they told him what I was. He was like, oh, you're the writer of this business. And he was like, well, I don't have it in my budget to pay you. I said, I didn't ask you to pay me. I said, I told you I'll do it for you. Mm-hmm. Now, what I did was I stepped out on faith and gave my name and my writing potential to this company. And this is what allowed me to actually get, even further out there because – now, they're looking at my stuff. That's how I got the jump for Church Pain to become a movie. Mm-hmm. Because I actually went out on a limb for them, and now, they're returning the favor to me. But you have to challenge yourself. I tell people all the time, I see people and they're like, I wrote 2 books and they didn't do good. I'm like, but okay, how much did you really put into your book? And when I tell people this, they're like, what do you mean? I said, how much did you set aside for your editing? How much did you set aside for your marketing? Were you out there blasting your own book on social media? Because you can't just expect to write a book and go. And so I saw a person I just gave this advice to, and I tried to send her to you, and she actually released the book. And, Shonda, you about to have a fit when I'm about to tell you this one. She released her book. It is 55 pages long, and guess how much she's charging for that said book? $16 a printed copy. And I was like, do you not? And I said, you're charging $16. I said, I have an established fan base, and my paperbacks are $12.95 to $14.95, and you're telling me your first time book, 55 pages, you're charging $16. I said, you overpriced yourself. And so, which means, you're not paying attention to anything. You don't even understand what I mean by that. And like I said, you have to stay relevant. You have to just stay up on all the trends. I said, okay, are you at least on TikTok? No. How do you plan on selling? Oh, my friends are going to tell. And I'm like, wow, you really need to call my friend. I said, she's a Navy buddy of mine. I said, she can help you. I said, because right now you're about to step into that puddle where in about a year or 2, you're going to be gone. Mm. And, again, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Because, like I said, we see people all the time. Mm-hmm. Man, it just puzzles me. I see people all the time, and I tell them all the time, invest in your covers, invest in your editing, but your marketing is everything. And she was like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm telling you, you just can't put out a book and think, okay, everybody's going to find my book. It's going to be a New York Times bestseller. I said, you have to work at this craft. You have to work at this craft. You just can't come up and all of a sudden think you just, it's going to just blow open and Oprah's going to get. I said, no. I said, if you send your book to Oprah, they have a bin for unsolicited mail, and that's where your book is going to go. And people think I joke about that, and I try to tell them, when you send your stuff unsolicited to these shows, there is a bin for unsolicited mail. And, you know, when you don't want to listen to someone who's in the industry, you know, what else can you do?
Yeah, I have a few people like that, and I just, you know, I say my piece, as they say, and I keep moving, because most of the time they haven't done their research. If you do your research, you already know that you got to promote. You know that, you know, when people come to me and they go, oh, I want to sell 5,000 books. And I say, do you know 5,000 people? Then they get real quiet because they're not, you know, they just got this limit of how much they want to sell, but they don't know, you know, you got 5 friends. That's
exactly. You got a bunch of associates, but you got 5 friends.
Yeah, you got 5 friends that don't buy.
And then you got a ton of people who are going to want a free copy because they feel like, hey, I should get a free copy. I should get a free copy.
I had somebody that told me that he was trying to introduce me to his cousin, and he told his cousin to send him the book, and he would, you know, pass it on to me. And I said, well, I don't need her book. I need you to send me her email, and you pass that on to me, and we can talk that way. I don't need her book. He wanted the book, but he didn't want to spend money to buy his cousin's book. He thought she should give it to him for free because he's his cousin. I said, she's not going to make any money if she's giving all her books away. Who does that? I'm her cousin. I'm her cousin. I said, so? So when you go and he does lawns. When you do people lawns, are you doing it for free for your cousins? Because if that's the case, come on over here and do mine for free.
Exactly. Exactly. Just, you know, one thing about marketing has not changed since MySpace. You know, you still have to grind it out, and people don't understand that. They just think that for some reason I'm like sliced bread, and I'm like, no, you're not. I said the only difference is, you know, you're just gonna get seen. And you know, and I tell people, I said, I've marketed with LaShaunda Poole. I said, I'm not gonna send you to anybody that's not gonna do a great job. And it's so weird. They're like, but you know, you've been around. I've been around because I listened to those who came before me.
Mhm. And I think that's
listen to those
issue right now is that people don't want to listen to. You know, I've been told, oh, you old school. They don't do that no more. And I'm like, most marketing has not changed. The only difference now is we have social media, you know, but you still got to do the regular stuff to get to the social media. You know, you got to build your email list. You got to have your website. You know, you got to have content. None of that changes. It's still the same.
None of it. You know, it's so weird. Like I told a friend, I gear my budget for my marketing for the second quarter. I don't have to call you and tell you that. I just have to sign up and tell you, okay, LaShaunda, we're going to do ABC. But see, you understand, I'm not going to call you for no reason. Look, and I'm not going to try to knock the price down. Your prices are your prices. And that's what I try to get across to people. Look at who you want to go to, but get you somebody who's going to work for you. And I said, even then, you're not guaranteed, you know, the New York Times. I said, but at least, you know, you got somebody professional doing the work for you. And some people
the New York Times have a team. Most of them have a team. They probably working with a professional publicist that's got them on Good Morning America, Channel 4, Channel 5. You know, they're doing different things. Not that many people that are independent are on New York bestseller list. Unless they've been, they probably got 20 or 30 books underneath their belt. Then yeah, they got the readership to get to that. But a new person to get on the New York bestseller, do your research and see. Have you seen anybody that's their first book on the New York bestseller time, and this their first book they published themselves? No. Now let's work on Amazon first. Let's get #1 on Amazon, and then we can build up to the New York Times. Now, I don't have a problem with that. But where is your team at? What are you doing? Who? I'm helping you promote, and who else is helping you promote? You're going to have 10 or 15 people to get to sell. Because what, you selling like 10,000 books, 20,000 books to get on that list? That's not a 200 books list. It's not. So you got to look at that, and people don't look at that. So my first question for you guys, because we talk about the promotion, how are you meeting new readers? We're stuck in this house. We can't go places. We can't do like we normally do. How are you all meeting new readers?
I'll let you go first, sir.
Okay. So if I understand the question correctly, basically, so what do I do to grab my readers?
Yes.
In this time of COVID, right now, how are you, because everybody had to pivot and do different things to reach new people now, since we kind of stuck in, not doing a lot of events like we normally do. What are you doing to reach new readers? You said you got your poetry book out there. How are you getting in front of these readers so they can buy it?
Well, I'll be the first to admit I haven't given too much of a thought as I've been working on other ventures in the process. So I am actually still doing some research on that. Actually, my wife and I were talking about that. It's like, okay, you can't get out there with your books. Okay, so I guess, ebooks may be the thing, but trying to get the readers is probably something I do. Like I said, I just need to take some time and research. So I will say I'm guilty in not doing that.
But that's okay.
Okay, well,
Good to say that.
That's okay. Now, let me give you a hint about, like, for me, what I've done is I converted over, like a lot of people, and I got about 40,000 followers on TikTok. When we went into the shutdown mode, I was one of those that took advantage of TikTok and, built it up by doing little quirky stuff with people and gained a following. And, believe it or not, when they found out I wrote books, I did a funny video on TikTok. And what I did was I put it to the Rocky theme song. And I put, I had most of my books somewhere on me. I was sitting in my recliner chair in the living room. And I'm going to have to send you that video, Shonda. But literally, it showed people everything I've written, from children's books to everything. And they were like, I didn't know you had that many books. I didn't know you wrote this. I didn't know you. And, my pen name back, in MySpace was Dark Chocolate. And so a lot of people that I met on TikTok, they were like, I read your stuff. My mom read your stuff. My aunt read your stuff. And that's how I just reconnected with people. And so I did the One Friend Challenge. And I was like, invite a friend to read one of my books. And so, and when I did that challenge, it got me to a new audience. But at the same time, I went to the college kids. And I got the college kids to start talking about me. And so, they're getting ready to do something for me now with the HBCUs, with writing and trying to show them that you can go professional in something other than just sports. And so we're using that to connect with families and readers. And it's amazing because it's really working. It's driving my numbers. The orders are up. I love it. But it's giving the readers who don't know about me a chance to actually meet me. And so, again, it's every month it's a different thing, but you're always pushing. And so that's the most important thing. But, yeah, I used TikTok when that shutdown happened. My niece actually got me over to it and got me signed up. And, then I actually monetized TikTok as well, because once you get up to 10,000 followers, you can do it. And so I did it with Coke Zero, with one of their commercials. So it's fun. It's interesting. You just have to be willing to go and venture out where you haven't been before. And so it just makes life interesting. But TikTok was the new thing for me because it got me to a lot of people, a lot of readers that I had no connection with at all. So that's how I did it. And that's how I'm still doing it that way.
I love that. You had me at 40,000. Look, I was trying to get it up to 1,000 so I could go live, and you at 40,000. I'm like, woo, yes. I love it. You said the key words is try something new. People miss out on that because they are afraid to try something. No, not afraid. They don't want to learn something new. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to reach new readers, you have to. I tell my clients all the time, you need a new platform. If you're on Facebook, that's all you do. Pick a new platform. Try something different. Learn the platform and see if your readers is on there. I found out that readers were on TikTok, and I was there. Okay.
Exactly. I'm talking about they're all over the place on TikTok, but that's why I met my publicist, actually, on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
My new publicist, that's how I met her on TikTok.
What I love about TikTok, that there is something for everybody. If you into going to libraries, the librarians are on there. The teachers are on there. The students are on. Like you work with students, they're there. And I love it. I'm trying to be a little more braver and do ones with my face. I'm not dancing.
Right.
I told them I was not dancing, but I did a 3-part series about the newbie who thinks that their friend's supposed to support them, and that Amazon is going to sell your book. That was my other one. What's the other one? Something else about something. But it was so funny because people think that's me, that I'm saying that myself, that I'm not being in character. I'm getting messages. You just need to do more promotion. People will buy your books. Don't worry about your parents, your family buying your books. And I was like, that means the video works. So
it really does.
It's a great platform. Tremayne, I would definitely recommend it for you, especially since you do poetry. You could go in there and read a poem every day. Boom.
Yep. Now, the main thing, and Tremayne, the main thing you want to do with TikTok is you want to post, especially when you first get on there, do about 2 or 3 posts a day. And that way it actually, it gets you entertained, it gets you involved with the readers. Feel free to add me, and I'll duet some of your stuff, your poetry, and that helps because when you duet the stuff, people, my followers will see it, and I've had people who are big time on there, duet some of my stuff because, I'll do some silly stuff on there every now and then, but I do it for fun, but at the same time, it's still marketing, and everybody is willing to help you there. Believe it or not, you got a lot of great people there. And you'll be surprised. You sign up and find me there. Same thing if you're trying to just find me, and I'll do it some stuff.
I would definitely look you up because I love following people. What I love about it is the engagement. This is one platform where people actually talk to you in your comments.
Yep,
so that's the best part about it. I haven't tried to do it. And can you give us 2 other tips that might help us move it along on TikTok? What do you think?
Well, like I said, do 2 or 3 videos a day, and that way people you're getting in TikTok's algorithm. The main thing is actually following people, and use all your follows. Use all your follows, and because you can't message people unless they're following you back. So you follow people, do duets with with anything that you see out, whether it's funny, whatever else. Because a lot of the new readers I got that are the young college students, they saw me duet some funny stuff, and like I said, it's the silliest stuff around, but it's going to get you there with people. Once you get your following up, then I tell you don't overdo it, and that's what some people make a mistake. They go in there and they try to kill it. Now I go in there probably once or twice, and I post some stuff, and I just go from there. And the main thing is, just be careful because some people are, jealousy is always going to be there, but just be careful about who and what you comment on because people will try to get you blocked. Be careful about that. Stay away from the politics. It's on TikTok. Stay away from it. And I tell people that all the time. Stay away from the politics. It's not worth it at all. That's my key thing. Do 2 or 3 videos a day. Use your follows, and you'll get some followers back from it. But stay away from the politics because that's how you get the people who want to just come there for the fun. And that's what I did. That's what I did the whole time, when we were shut down. I used that whole platform for fun. And get out of your shell. Get out of your shell. The final thing is every now and then they have some fun challenges there. And you look on my page, you'll see I did one challenge where, they were doing the rerun dance. And I did it, and it makes a little funny little noise. And I say, I'm not young anymore. It was fun. And I got so many people who were sharing it, talking about it, and they would do it in that video, but it was fun for them. And then I picked up so many followers, and that's what started me on that high train of getting, those mass amount of followers. I can push it to 100,000, but like I said, use it as a tool. That's how I picked up my publicist from TikTok because she saw some of the stuff that was going on. She was like, do you have a publicist? And, we got to talk, and I told her no. Come to find out, she lives right in Atlanta, Georgia, and she's helped me so much with the other stuff that's going on. But listen to the tips. They have tip videos on TikTok as well that teaches you how to do different things. Those are spectacular. They teach you how to edit videos, how to format the videos, and you don't have to go out and spend massive amount of money on cameras or sets and everything else. They teach you so much. Those young kids really know a lot of stuff, and so use it as the best tool you can, because 1 is free, 2 is free, and 3 is free. So it takes out the the excuse of I can't afford it.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. And one of the other tips that I would offer is the hashtag. That's how you find people. The hashtags are amazing. So if you have genres that you write under, you hashtag. That's how I start doing I do the Kindavella, and so I use the Kindavella hashtags, and I start getting in front of the people I wanted to meet, which is the authors, and they start following me, and I start building up my getting to my 1,000, because once you get to 1,000, you can go live. I haven't done a live yet, but that is just growing and following people and stuff. And what I try to do is at least do 15 minutes each night. Just go in there and follow and listen to people things, make comments, and follow people every night. And you'll see yourself growing. And the thing about it is you be engaged. You being just as engaged as people are to you, and you'll get more people to follow you that way too.
Yep, you sure will. And you'll be surprised how fast some of those people actually come your way, because like one of my friends, she has her blue check on Facebook, and she was laughing because one of her friends was actually, a reader of mine. And she was like, do you know him? And so she was like, yeah, I'll call him for you right now. And so she called, she was like, I got one of your readers on the phone line. And the lady followed me on TikTok because her daughter showed how to use it, but she was just like, she was just that impressed, and she wanted to talk to me. And I told her, sure. And she asked me, she said, why would you give me time if I'm just a reader? I said, see, you're not just a reader. I said, you're part of that family for me. And so you treat your readers like family. Guess what? They'll be twice as loyal to you. And again, that it's just me. I have that old school feel to everything I do. But I'm telling you, man, it's like I said, you and I, we've talked about stuff, but some people, like I said, I got one author back now trying to re-engage the writer's world, and I'm like, you gave up too early. You had 2 great books, and because they didn't pop, you stopped. And everybody was wondering, what happened to you? And so,
people forget that somebody bought that book. Sometimes people be so upset that nobody is buying the book, but what about those people who did buy the book? Those are your loyal supporters. They bought 2 books, they love it. Give them some more books. We're so busy trying to reach that new reader that we don't appreciate the ones that are there. And I tell people that also. I used to tell one of my friends before I became published, she used to be so upset. And I said, you are where I want to be at. And she says, why you want to be here? I said, because you have readers. Somebody is enjoying your book. And she sat back and she said, I never looked at it like that. I'm just, I said, no, you're so busy worried about how much money you're making. Why did you start writing? Because you wanted to reach readers. And sometimes we forget that goal of reaching readers. We're worried about, we ain't making 10,000 right now. We ain't making 50,000. We ain't making 100,000. You can't make that if you don't have the readers. That's who gets you to that point.
The funny thing is, when people ask me all the time, it's like, because obviously, being a full-time writer, obviously, yes, I make money off of it. But I tell them I never look at it like that. I look at it as me giving birth to a new book. And that's my biggest thing. If you look at it like that, you're doing something that you love to do, the money will come.
Yeah.
The everything else will come, and when I tell people all the time, like I don't fly now because of my PTSD and anxiety. But at the same time, I got companies that will actually send a charter bus for me to come work on a project. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you. But if you write just because you love to write, trust me, they will find you. And I know even with this year, I've had the privilege of talking to people from Lionsgate and Netflix because, they get excited about what you're doing. But the only reason why they're getting excited is because readers are talking. Readers are talking, and you never know what reader you're going to actually come across. And that's the difference. You write just to write. You don't write just to say, okay, I need to make, $4,000 a month. That's not, you're not writing for the passion. You're not writing for the love of it. You're writing for a paycheck. If you write for the passion, trust me, the rest of it will come in. I try to tell so many new authors this, and they spend so much time, and I'm like, okay, you want to go that route. How much are you willing to pay your publishers? How much are you willing to pay for marketing? How much are you willing to pay for, everything? And they don't think about that part. They just think about, hitting that upload button to Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not putting anything into it, but I tell any of my readers, I have a designated phone line just for my readers. If they say, hey, I want to ask you a question about this book. Okay, here you go. Here's the number. Give me a call.
I love that.
That's the part. And that's the part that shocks them, because they're like, so you give me a number. I said, I'm giving you a number to call me. I said, I'm standing by waiting on you right now. And so when I ask the phone and they go and they type, is this you? I say, yes, this is me. I'm on the phone with you right now. And that is the biggest difference between myself and other people. I have a dedicated readers line where they can actually call me and we can talk about characters. We can talk about everything. I give time back. One thing I've started doing this year was actually helping in the high schools and college areas is talking to kids who want to write about their writer development, about the characters. And I tell them writing is not perfect. And if you try to go into it being perfect, you're going to mess up a great story. And I tell the English teachers, please don't hate me for this, but stop trying to write perfectly. Because in the reader's world, they're going to eat you alive if you don't come out and they can't feel it. I said, if you're not writing and you're not me and my characters, we go at it. We go at it. I'm in my room. My wife would tell you, I'm in that room. I might be cussing out a character. I might be laughing. Sometimes I feel like crying. But that's me getting involved in the story. If you're not involved in that story like that, your readers are not going to be involved in that story. That's how I do it. And that's how I've survived all this time while everybody else is trying to go pro. I went pro, but I listened to, it was so funny. Rest in peace to Mr. Elin Harris. I told him, Elin gave me some great advice in Atlanta, and I took it and I ran with it. And I haven't looked back since. And it's all about the readers. If you show the readers that they're number one with you, trust me, they'll return the love. Mm-hmm. They will return the love, but
that's
a lot of people.
So I was a reader first, and I learned from three authors that I sat at their feet: Rochelle Ehlers, Beverly Jenkins, and Frances Ray, and they treat their readers like gold. Their readers were important to them. They, we could talk to them over the phone. You could send them emails, and they reply back. And I learned so much from them of how I wanted to be as an author when the time came. And you have to know what you want to be as an author when you say go pro. When you go pro, what's important, because like I said, it's all about the long game. If you're gonna be, I've been doing this 20 plus years, and people, how you? That's just too long. That's too long, But this is my career. This is what I want to do, And so it's hard because a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people got in their head how much they're gonna be making a month. If I did that, I've been gone.
Oh yeah, I would have been gone. Because I think
some days I might make $2.
Man, there were some days I wouldn't make nothing, but.
And I'm laughing at some of these people that they're gonna be New York Times, and I'm gonna sell 5,000 books, and then they come back, Miss LaShaunda, I haven't sold anything in 3 months. It happens like that sometimes. Those are the stories you don't hear about, but you need to hear that, because you need to know that you're gonna have those days where you might sell 50 books, and then the next month you sell nothing. But people don't talk about that. You hear about those people talking about, I sold 70,000 books this year, and so and so, and they ain't telling you all the stuff they had to do to get to that 70,000.
It's weird because they don't counter in the fact that the cost of a publicist and even a simple email marketing and everything else. And I tell people that email marketing is just as important as that publicist. And people are like, I can't afford a publicist. I said, I couldn't either at first, but I kept doing the work until I could.
Right. You get to that point. that way. And I
I'm
think
like,
that's
nope.
what a lot of people miss. You know, and they're like, do you know, the publisher is trying to charge me $5,000 a month. That's what they charge. Can you not do your research and see? You know?
I'm telling you, but it's like,
I can't afford that. I said, you just don't come out with unless you're with a publisher. They might, you know, you working with a publisher, but you want as an independent person, you need to do your research. Is that in your budget? Can you afford a $5,000 a month retainer for a publicist? She gonna get you the work that you need, but can you afford that?
And if you can't afford it, guess what? Don't fake the funk with it. Like I said, be real people. I remember selling out the back of my trunk in DeKalb and in Gwinnett and in Cobb. And people look at me like, are you serious? I said, I'm telling you, I got readers who would tell you I would sell out the trunk of my car in Atlanta. I would go to the expressway drop-offs when people park, and I was selling books there. And that's where I got my jump start at. And until you realize that, hey, everybody doesn't come out, you know, with a massive deal. I've had deal offers since then, and I won't sign with a traditional publishing company because I have Omega Man Publishing. Why should I go give you a percentage of my money when I can do the same thing? So now I have a team of editors. Now I have, you know, a publicist. Now I have, you know, graphic designers. I have everything I need, the same thing you're going to charge me, but I have ownership of my material, and that to me means everything. And so I tell people, you have to find your reason. Don't try to follow my path. You have to create your own path with that, and that's going to be key for you. And so a lot of them, they just want to come out and think, hey, I'm going to go with Simon & Schuster, and I'm going to be real good. Okay. I tell them, okay, I'm trying to forewarn you of that pitfall because you don't even understand, you know, the details in those contracts. Oh, and then they have to have a lawyer. When I say that part, they're like, what do I need a lawyer for? Okay. Again, these are things that you have to pay for. Yeah. You sell enough books, trust me, you'll get up there, you'll want to do that. And it's like, well, what happens when I sell enough books? Then you got to make sure you get an accountant. Why? Because you want to make sure your taxes are paid because you're not Martha Stewart. You're not going to go to a fancy prison. You're going to go to one of those run-down prisons. Mm-hmm. And they're like, man, that's scary. No, it's not. You just have to do the work. You have to understand everything that goes involved. Listen to the people who've been there and make it easy on yourself. But, yeah, you need a publicist. You need an accountant. You need all that stuff. And a lot of them, they just aren't ready for that.
Yeah, they're not. There's a lot that's not. What was the biggest surprise that you experienced after becoming a published writer?
You know, believe it or not, the crossover appeal. Because I thought my audience was going to be mainly, you know, black women. And so when I found out that, you know, I had just as many, you know, white female fans and some white males, and then my numbers start skewing up towards, you know, I'm at like 60-40 now, white females, the black females. So that kind of shook me because I was like, you know, I thought I was writing for one particular group, and kind of find out the other group loved it just as much or more. It really, you know, it's a shocking thing when you really go through it for the very first time. That was really shocking for me.
What about you, Tremayne?
That actually happened with one of my books, DDBS. That's short for Deaf, Dumb, Blind, and Stupid. It was about child sexual abuse and teenage suicide. Like Manswell, I thought I was writing for a black audience. That book gravitated more to a Caucasian audience. And I was actually telling my wife this the other day. I said that opened me to another audience because abuse is something that black people really don't want to talk about. But white folks, they're very vocal and very angry about it, too. So I was like, okay. So that kind of broke my mindset of, okay, don't just focus on your race. Just write. Don't worry about race, you know?
Yeah, that's I always say a good book is for everybody. It is not a matter of color.
Yes, it is. And see, now I don't even follow that path more. I just write. And that's what I do, literally. I just write, and, you know, but the fans are your best marketing. They're your best marketing tool. People don't understand that, but, man, the ones who follow you and read you and buy every book, those are the ones talking about you, and they're giving you free press and everything else. So, again, that's what I do. And I just write for anybody. I just write for the love of it, and And I try to tell people, stop looking. I tell people, when you first start a book, don't look at the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what do you mean? I said, you know what? I said, because you can have those artificial rankings where all of a sudden it shows you, hey, you're in this small genre right here, and, you're number one. Yes, it's the number one. Take credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but don't let it blow your head up to the point where, you're thinking, okay, now it's time for me to hit number one on Amazon. Those categories, they can be very deceiving. And so I try to warn people, don't fall for the okie doke. Even though you got a number one, claim that number one. It's yours. Honestly, claim it honestly. But don't let that be the end all and thinking, okay, now I'm finna hit the top. Because your next book could fall flat until your third book or your fourth book. And so that's why I tell people keep writing, because while they might not love this book now, they'll come back and love the other book later. And most people see that now, even with John Grisham. They're going back and they're finding older books of his that were actually flops at first. Yes, I said that correctly. Mm-hmm. Some older John Grisham books that did not sell. And now all of a sudden they're selling because people want to go back and read everything he has. And that's how you do it. That's why you see so many books that come out later and people are like, why they make it into a movie now? Because they didn't pay attention to it when it first came. But he had to write it for them to go back and pay attention to it, right?
Right.
That's what you got to do. You have to keep writing. No matter what, you keep writing. And if you keep writing, trust me, eventually they're going to get there. You're going to get the attention. But, if you're in writing just for the money, then, you're not going to build that solid fan base. You're not going to have them just being loyal to you. And that's what's going to hurt you down the line, because the fans know if you're being sincere with them.
Yeah.
They know it. And so, and that's the one thing about it. And, they know if you're willing to take 10, 20 minutes to talk to them, that means the world to them. It's 10 minutes of your time, but it means the world to them.
Yeah, because you're their celebrity. You're that celebrity. You're making time for them. And you talk about it forever. I talk about me meeting Lynn Harris, and I stood in line for 45 minutes. I never stood in line for nobody for right. But I stood in line with these ladies. We was around the corner waiting our turn to get with Elin. But what I loved about him was that he was the type of person that he signed every book you brought up in there. He signed it, so that's why we were standing there forever. Then he actually talked to you. He just signed the book. Sometimes you go to the book signing, they just sign the book and keep it moving. He talked to you, and then he brought his own model that was on the cover of his book. He had a Polaroid camera, and he took a picture. So you got a chance to take a picture with the model, or you could take a picture with him. When I was talking to him at that time, I had the magazine, and I said I had an online radio show, and I said I would love to do an interview on the radio show, and he was like, here's my number, and he wrote his number down and gave it to me. I was like, this dude didn't give me his email, he gave me his phone number, and I called. We talked about 3 hours. Now the interview was for 30 minutes, but he talked to me for 3 hours, giving me advice and stuff like that, and that's priceless. That's something I treasure forever, because he's gone now, but there was a bunch of people that never got that from him, and so like you got to talk to him and get advice from him. There's a lot of people who will never talk to their favorite author ever, and so when you get a chance to do that for your reader, do it, because that's something that they treasure, forever and ever and ever.
We believe it or not, when I got a chance to talk, it was so funny because Atlanta has a huge book festival, and so of course they set you up according to your name recognition and everything else, and so I was back there by the bathrooms.
Okay.
and so because I'm just now trying to get in this thing, and I said, it's Elin. Hey man, how you doing? Now I'm not thinking he's gonna say something back. He said, give me about 2 minutes, man. I'll be right back talking to you. So I'm like, yeah, right, okay. He ain't come back talking to me. And he came out that bathroom, and he just plopped down in the seat. And I'm like, dude, he needs to be up there signing. And but that's the kind of person he is, though.
Mm-hmm.
He just plopped down in the seat, and he was like, he opened my book, and he started reading. He was like, okay. He said, you need a better editor, but I like the story. And I'm sitting there like, You know you're Elan, right? And so I'm sitting there I'm still in shock because I'm like, you're sitting at my table. And he was like, I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you're not. And everybody looking at me because he's sitting at my table. But he told me, he said, always treat their heart like you treat your heart. He said, you'll never go wrong. And so, that, like I said, that's why I had a dedicated line. You know, and it was so funny when I told my wife I was going to do it. She's like, do it. That way they can call you. And so I'll turn it on when somebody wants to call me. They'll send an email and say, I sure wish I could call you and talk to you about this. But if you ever get a chance, give me a call. I want to talk to you about this. And I'll reply back, okay, I'm calling you from this number. And then one lady said, you're bullshit. And I'm like, no, I'm calling you now. Ring, ring, ring. It's ringing. Answer the phone. And so her and her sister went ballistic. And they were like, we're on the phone with you right now. I said, yeah. I said, you want to go Facebook Live with? No. I just want to talk to you. And so, you know, it goes back like you remember my first series on One Last Crime?
Mm-hmm.
I killed a character in that series. And even today when I get new readers, they're still having a fit about that character dying, and they want to talk about it. And I'm like, we can talk about it. I said, my wife will tell you, though, he dead. He ain't coming back. This ain't Days of Our Lives, baby. He ain't coming back.
How dare you kill one of their characters off? But that's you know, your books have touched people when they think them people is real and they upset with you.
Man, I mean, I'm like, One Last Cry came out, a decade ago? Wow. And people are still mad about that, Shonda? And I'm like, I just laugh. And so, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter where I go, whether it's to Orlando, Jacksonville. You know, every now and then I'll post on social media for an hour. I say, I'm going to be in this area. If you guys want to come have a drink with me and have a bite to eat, I'll be here. And then I'll take it down. And the ones who saw it, they'll come by and they say, you're really here? I said, I told you I'd be here. And, of course, this was pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. But literally, you know, we're gonna hopefully get a chance to do that again because I love just popping up and just shocking people. But, you know, they're like, but your wife don't get mad if I take a picture? No, she won't because she understands. She understands. And so I said, matter of fact, she'll take the picture for you. Are you serious? I'm like, she'll take the picture for you. And, you know, I've had women that, you know, just go back and say, my mom wants to meet you so bad. I'm like, I'll wait. And it shocks them because I'll be sitting there waiting, but you have to treat them like royalty, and they'll return love to you. And that's the biggest thing, you know, that I try to do.
Yeah, that's how you become a bestseller from those readers. Those readers will make you a bestseller. You know, I mean,
big time, trust me.
Make you a bestseller, but those fans that love you, they're gonna talk your book up. And if they get excited by the series, it's on.
That's like you know, I didn't have a foothold in Memphis, Tennessee until this week. And it was so funny because, you know, I'm in Nashville, but I'm not in Memphis. And so all of a sudden these two sisters started telling everybody in Memphis about me. And I sent them both a gift basket. Because they were out there telling everybody and mama about, you know, my books. And so literally they were sending me email after email from their friends and screenshots of text messages. And so I sent both of them a nice gift basket. And, you know, again, that's how you show people you appreciate them. Because I didn't market in Memphis at all. But they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
That's free publicity. And that's usually that word of mouth will just blow you completely up. So many people miss that, but that word of mouth is amazing. And one of the things about it now, you know, back in the day, word of mouth was really good. But now, because of social media, you just blow up something. All you got to do is take a picture of that gift basket and post it. And look what I got. Just a fan. I'm just a fan. I love his books. You know, somebody going to go check it out because they're like, well, who is this dude? He says, I love gift basket. You know, they want to know who you are. What are you about? You know, and so, you know, it's just amazing. People don't take advantage of the different things. You know, they like it's so much stuff that you can do with your readers. You know, and so I always say, you can't do nothing else. Support your readers. Spotlight a reader. Pick one every month and say, hey, this person right here buys my book. And you'd be surprised what that will do for your readership because they're like, yeah, he just took a picture and posted it on Facebook about her? Wow. You know,
believe it or not, I'm gonna tell you something I do, and this is for any author that wants to grow their fan base. This is something I do every single month. I buy 2 or 3 readers a cup of coffee from Starbucks. It is the smallest price. It's the smallest price, but then I buy 2 or 3 readers, and I buy a $10 gift card. It's enough for a cup of coffee and some kind of breakfast item, and it means the world to them. But it's like the word of mouth value is 10 times the amount I spent.
It is.
They don't have to. They don't always have to go out and. You know, it's the biggest thing in the world. Like, I know when I get ready to release the Syndicate Sisterhood, I want you to watch what I'm going to do, because I'm actually going to use you as well on that one. But we got some surprises coming.
What you calling it?
It's like, and matter of fact, look, let me give you a little preview of this right here. The Syndicate Sisterhood is about 5 friends who all grew up, you know, orphans. And these females are very protective of each other, but they're also protective of the ones that they love and care about. It's dark, it's steamy, it's hot, it's crazy. There will be blood, but it's coming from the mind, and it's a mixture of dark chocolate and Manswell Peterson. So when you think of the normal Mafia series, you always think about the males, right? I spotlight the females in this one.
And that's why I say you said it, women. I love Mafia stories. That they don't talk about women too much, so that's kind of cool.
And that's the gap that I'm feeling right now, because every time I look at it, it's always about male. But you know, it's not that many, you know, male authors that can write in that romance genre to really touch a female. And I take pride in knowing that I'm in that selective number. You know, because a lot of guys, they write from the male perspective, but I'm like, it took me a minute to master it, and I'm still working on it every single day. I never take it for granted, but you know that the Syndicate Sisterhood is going to be something special. It's going to be crazy. We're going to actually wind up with some merch. But here's the funny thing about the merch that we're going to have: you can't buy it. I'm going to give it to you. You can't buy it. I'm going to give it to you. You can't buy it. And so, they're, you know, everybody's excited about it. So, you know, that's an exclusive for you. But I'm going to give away the merch for the Syndicate Sisterhood, and you cannot go out and buy it. You know, people might try to copy it, but, you know, hey, but you can't buy this. You're going to have to, you know, it's going to be a gift from me to you. And that's what we're going to do for them. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Again, this is just my way of connecting with female readers and letting them know, hey, I'm here. I appreciate you.
Well,
you know,
I always appreciate the way that you promote, the way you don't just do regular promotion. And I think that people miss that. They think that promotion is just buy my book. And you can have fun with it. You can do different things with it. And this time it's so many different things that you can do. And I definitely recommend authors look at creating their own merchandise. If you're going to give it away or for free, you know, for selling it. But you need your own line. I learned that when I started going to different events, and you know, I was wearing other people's stuff, and they're like, "Where you get that T-shirt from?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I need me some LaShaunda shirts." You know, and start my own T-shirt line. You know, but it's a business. If you look at it as a business, how can you make? If you're worried about that $4,000 a month, that one book is not going to make $4,000. So what else can you do from that book, you know, to do different things? And that you're going to reach your readers, bring them back to you, create these little gift box. You know, I have a friend that does a gift box every month, and she has her books. They get a candle, they get some T-shirts and stuff. What are you doing to enhance your experience? That's the key word there, experience of reading your book. You know, so
matter of fact, I'll tell you right now, because I'm telling you, I'm looking for a basket maker right now, and it involves the Syndicate Sisterhood as well. So if you know anybody, tell me, get in touch with me. You know how I do. You know how I do.
Hear that, listeners? Get on there and get that basket deal right there.
If you make baskets, hit me up, because this is the exciting thing about, and I'm so excited about this the Syndicate Sister, because literally I got friends at the Stars, and they're like, you do this right, and they said, well, we know you're gonna do it right, but you pop this correctly. I'm literally trying to follow, in that power genre on Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why, you're going to see me go all out with this again, because, hey, it's there.
Well, I can actually see, just when you're talking about it as a TV show or something like that, you get these readers talking about it. Somebody, you said talking to Netflix, hey. You never know.
The weird thing is, I think it's like 12 books in that series, and they're only getting 4 of them this year.
Okay.
They're only getting 4 of them this year, and so there's a scene, and now this is funny because your other guest, he writes poetry, but there's we're looking at the TV series, and so at one of the clubs we have poetry night. See, this is how you plug other people and help them as well. So see, I'll be looking for his poetry and some other people's poetry to plug in there. And give them credit for it, and that's the beauty of what how you work and how you try to do those things. So, literally, if you write poetry, hey, be on the lookout as well, because you never know where it can get plugged in at. You never know, and so that's the exciting thing about the Syndicate Sisterhood. I'm just ready for February to get here, because obviously it's Valentine's Day. We're trying to make sure we have that ready as soon as possible, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I am looking forward to it. We're trying our best to make sure we release it before Valentine's Day. It might come out right before, right after, but yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Wow,
it will definitely be a good one.
Conversation. I know sometimes me and Manswell get together, we run our mouth forever, but Tremayne, I enjoy talking to you too. Tell us how we can get in touch with you online, offline, what's going on, what you coming up soon.
Well, okay, maybe I'm showing my age too. You can reach me on Facebook and Twitter. My website is www.mainetre.com. I think my contact info is on my. I have a personal page as well as an author page on Facebook, but that's where you can reach me.
Okay. All right, Manswell, how can we reach you?
They can reach me on Facebook at Manswell T. Peterson is my personal page. Manswell Peterson is my author page, my fan page, my family page. And as always, the same email address I've had since MySpace, manswellp@yahoo.com. Feel free to email me. You want me to call you, I'll call you. Just that simple.
Well, I hope what our guest shared today was helpful for you. I want to thank our sponsor, Building Your Readership by LaShaunda Hoffman. Check the show notes for the link to purchase. I want to thank you, our listeners, for taking time to listen to the podcast. I have my 3 questions for you. Did you learn something from this episode? If you did, please share the podcast with your community. Would you like to be a guest for an episode? Contact me at onesoremag@gmail.com. One last question. Have you promoted your book or business today? If you haven't, go showcase those wings. Someone needs what you have to offer. This is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I will see you on the next.